guys, I hope you are very well. I am Daniela.
And I am Shio.
We are happy to be with you once again on your favorite podcast, Collage Histories.
That's right. Thank you very much for listening to us today. In this episode, we will talk about one of the most popular engineers, which in our case is our favorite. Yes or no, Daniela?
Yes, of course, because in case we had not mentioned it in before, we both studied chemical engineer, and that is what we will be talking about today.
Topic that excites us a lot since we know that many of our spectators aspire to start this career. Just like us, at some point we want to study and we would have expectations.
That's right, apart from the fact that when we have to make that decision, we are barely 17 years or 18 years old, and most of us don't know what to do with our lives. And when we make that decision, we don't even know what exactly the career we are choosing is about. In your case, Shio, why did you decide to study chemical engineer?
Well, the reality is that I want to study medicine.
Oh, so it was your second option?
That's right. I did talk in being labs and making solutions and stuff, but I didn't see the word engineer when I made that decisions. So
Yes, I understand, and the reality is different.
and in your case, why did you decide to study chemical engineer?
I decided to study chemical engineer because it was what I was most familiar with. Because in high school, my specialty was chemical laboratory.
Oh, did you think about studying abroad? Because I last and I do try it.
Yes, at the end of my internship in high school, I realized that I wanted to study for QFB in Orizaba, but all the classes had already closed, and I didn't want to lose a whole year. In your case, Shio, why did you want to study abroad?
Well, the truth is I want to like the experience of living alone, getting new places, student career, and the career I wanted.
Yes, the truth is that the life for foreigners look very fun, but it depends on the city where they go to study. Where did you want to go to live?
I want to go to live at Wadi in Merida.
Oh, wow, Merida is very beautiful. Surely you will have a hot great time.
Yes, Merida is a great city, but going back to the main topic, do you regret having chosen it?
No, no, reality, not really. I think it's a very good race.
Yes, it is. The fact that I was not what I expected, I have enjoyed studying and seeing the whole process, in so many things that one can do as a chemical engineer, from the science tank to learning how to operate the reactor, talk simulators. It's something interesting as in this career, the possibilities in a great field.
Yes, being a chemical engineer is of great importance within the industry because they are in charge of the same developing, controlling, and optimizing process for the transformation of raw materials to obtain new products. It is knowing everything that a chemist must now apply in the industry.
That's it why I some interesting to study it when I knowing all those chemical processes that we see in the industry.
But not everything is learned at the school, since most of what we know is only theoretical, and it must be very different to apply everything we have learning in the workplace.
It's true. So, well, to me, it's more like a love-hate relationship.
Why love? Why love hate?
Well, the career presents a great challenge. Do you see how long you can last? It's a lot of sleepy hours, and my dark circles. I don't know, stop growing.
So, what do you like the most about the race?
I enjoy more the subjects that I have calculations. I like equations and I love of currently. I feel more confident with the subject that is equipment design.
Oh, interesting. To me, on the contrary, I don't really like subjects that involve a lot of calculation. I am more attracted to those that are practical, like being in the laboratory, seeing the simulations of the process, etc.
I still enjoy the laboratory, but I had if subjects are more theory than any. It's because very difficult for them to have a full attention as health and safety was a lot of theory and regulation. I couldn't, and even worse when I was 2 hours.
Yes, I agree with you. What I have noticed is that most of us who study chemical engineer like less history, but I must admit that health and safety was a subject that I liked because I think it was very useful and interesting to know the risks that could arise at work, the laws and risks of workers.
That's important. More and more than now, it presents a great advantage when growing out. When going out is to look for a job. I have some type of certificates in care and safety.
Yes, because most chemical engineers end up working in some industry, which represent a great risk every day because they are exposed to flame, corrosive, reactive, or toxic substance. That is why it is important that we know how to work properly.
Also, theoretical subjects such as land operations show us that there is a lot of responsibility in us and it's important that we want aware of this.
That's right. But are you afraid of working in an industrial plant?
Well, yes, of course, and I even more. So now that we're going to graduate, the fact of already beginning a plan and something could happen or an explosion, there is always the danger of something going wrong.
I think the same. So, in which industrial sector would you like to work?
Well, the petrochemical sector will be the first one where I will go since we have the refinery or the complex Navy. Although I think that most of them go the first. On the other hand, the private sectors always attracts attention. And you, what kind of industry would you like to work?
In my case, I am more attracted to the food industry because of the processing, conservation, and packaging of food, apart from the fact that it is less dangerous.
That's true. The truth is that are many fields of works for us and chemical engineer.
Yes, and the salary as a chemical engineer is very good.
Of course, if you are lucky enough to have permanent job and with a medical medical attention.
But the reality is that the degree is so demanded by the industrial zone where we live that it becomes difficult to enter a good industry to work. Don't you think?
Sure, but now that possibilities have been opening up now with in Dos Bocas, a refinery, although knowing English as your second language has now become a priority.
Yes, learning English is very important. That's why it's good that the school requires English as a requirement to be able to graduate.
In fact, it is one of the main reasons why we don't now graduate. Although I think that now it could no longer be a problem since the most young people have been learning English since they were little.
I think that this depends on the possibilities of each student, because if you are talking about someone who has studied in public schools, it is not until high school that they start to have English classes, and the quality is not very good.
I thought you realize I feel that some government schools are already begin to apply it, but even so, or based on my experience, you learn most of English from the internet. Whether it's a good or a bad language, you become familiar with things or the social networks, video games, music, even sports.
Yes, if with social networks, the internet, and how easy it is now to obtain information, it is easier to learn.
Now, we come to an interesting fact. Did you know, in addition to being used in industries such as oil, pharmaceutical, biochemical, etc., chemical engineer also has as working field in a metallurgy and mining. Mining is always in need of improving extraction and refining process of metals and minerals, all type, from precious metals such as gold and silver, which require maximum purity to acquire evaluate, to natural metals such as copper, bronze and steels, which need to be fused with other elements to strengthen their natural properties. One more data about all this is that most of the elements that make up cell phones came from mining and were subject to a chemical process to be synthesized.
Returning from for the very interesting fact, now tell me, what do you think about the quality of the school where you study? Do you think you have learning what is necessary?
Well, I feel that we have a very complete and versatile study program where we see from the theory to practice and even simulate some process to give us a better understanding of what happened in a real case.
Yes, I agree. However, I think it has a lot to do with the teachers we chose to teach us the subjects, since they are the ones who guide us in our decision.
Well, there are expectations, so the academic deficiencies that a result after the pandemic is also something that can be noticed.
Yes, I think that is something that affected everyone a lot. In my case, it was very difficult for me to pay attention to the virtual classes. And although is what easier, my lack of motivation made me not feel like it and my grades dropped. In your case, Shio, how did it affect you?
Well, in my case, I still struggled with my concentrations, but affected me the most what that I feel everything to the last so much that sometimes I get everything in a few seconds and obviously everything in a hurry, which hit me what the hit me the most is that I get to fail a subject.
Oh no, failing a subject affects a lot.
Yes, luckily I was the only one, and fortunately I regularized myself.
That's good because you see that when you fail a subject later, you can continue with others and that daily.
Yes, some as you say they are connected, but now with the new change, they can affect you even more, even change your student plan. This affected that we are already in the 8th semester.
If the truth is that it is a situation in which I would not like to find myself, because can you imagine having to lose several subjects and go back to take others just for feeling one subject?
I wouldn't ever wish that on my worst enemy.
Neither do I, but it's good that we are doing well. I'll talk now that I think about it. It is a love-hate relationship, as you say.
You see, there are very difficult moments that we no longer want to follow, but in the end, everything is worth it, and you are happy for having studied chemical engineer.
Yes, I don't regret studying chemical engineer, but this chapter has come to an end. We were happy very to have shared this space with you.
Thank you very much for listening to us. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.